like y'all did the other day? Hey, babies, it's the queen. Because that's what happened last time. We showed it out, right? I'm going live on my Queen Amina page. Where we at? Hey, babies, getting ready. Got the awesome Phoenix Lindsey. We're here at Cheers.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Queen Speaks. Miss Phoenix Lindsey is nice enough to let me bless her mic today. We got a lot of topics. We're going to be here for 2 hours. Thank y'all for tuning in. I totally appreciate y'all. I know y'all can't see me because I'm in front of the light, but I'm going to be moving around in a little bit. So I'm trying to get the other feed ready. Hey, Titan. Love you, bro. I hope you're going to enjoy the show. I'm going to be interviewed and I'm going to perform as well. This is going to be awesome today. So today is all about networking and making a move, boo. Let's see. Live. Can you see better? Oh yeah, it's still a glare. It's still kind of a glare, but it's okay. Okay, I can see it a little better. I can definitely see it. Sweet, can you see me, bro? Just throw them hearts so that you can see. Oh yeah, that's better. That's a whole lot better. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, let me slide this back here. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks, bro, for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. I know y'all been missing the queen. I've been having my moments doing my thing, but y'all know how I go. Hey, bro. Look what I got this morning. We gonna go live. Okay, babe. Start live. You see, I see you stunting and shine. Hey, bro, I'm trying to do what I can do, boo. Trying to do what I can do. Let's turn this around. Hey, baby. How to do? How to do? It's the queen. Love you. Appreciate you. Hey. So we're live on Queen Speaks. We're live on the Queen Amina page. We are going to go live with Phoenix Lindsey. We're live at Cheers down in DC area. The queen is going to have a cool little interview and everything should be everything. I am so excited about today. I cannot wait for everything to start. I got a couple things for sale and I'm excited. I'm excited that somebody recognized the queen and want me to what to do, okay? So she got some topics, some major topics, and we're gonna get a topic. Hey, glad you made it. So yeah, so just bear with me, guys. I'm gonna show the screen, I'm gonna show the team, I'm gonna show everything in a minute. Just let the queen just get together, okay? So that's what we do. I appreciate you. I'm trying to find my other phones and go live on Instagram too. Gotta go live on every avenue I can. Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do. Let me move this out your way. Yes, our own selves. Let's see. Thank you for tuning in, bro. I appreciate you. I definitely do. I'm going to turn it this way a little bit so y'all can see a little bit more. But like I said, it get kind of dark, but we're doing what we can do. I love this picture of my boo-boo. Let's add this to my timeline. Let's see. Okay. So we just added this to the timeline and we're going to get it popping, you guys. I swear, y'all know how the queen do. So we live. I'm going to try to send out some invites to everybody, so bear with the queen. Y'all know how it goes. I got you, bro. You know I appreciate you. You always one of the first people on. It's too wireless. Okay. Awesome. So excited, you guys. Y'all know I kind of hold my books while I read, but I got this. Y'all got me? So let me see if I can send some invites out. And then I'm going to go live somewhere else. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Let's see. I'm sending out invites. Okay, I can see a little better. Sending out invites, everybody. Bear with the queen. Yay. Let's share to a group. That's what we're going to do. hope it let me share to all the groups. Act like y'all didn't see me drink this, okay? That's what we gonna do.
We all grown up in here.
But we all know it's 5 o'clock somewhere, okay? 5 o'clock somewhere. So.
3 times. Hello.
I was just calling you.
Yes, sir. Hello.
How you doing? She got the kids. She got the kids. She got my two. Hi. How are you? I'm Phoenix. Shannon. Nice to meet you too. Queen Amina. Queen Amina. Queen Amina. Yes, ma'am. Don't give them nothing. I gave you that 1 minute.
That's what I want to do.
I'm sharing to the groups. That's an awesome novel. I know the writer personally. It's wonderful. You might want to get that book. We got some book specials today, just so you know. Thank you. Hey, Boo. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, it's going to be awesome. Like, honestly, Phoenix has wonderful topics. She's going to be talking to the councilman who's running for mayor, and we're going to get it popping. She's going to definitely talk about a whole lot of issues and things. I'm trying to go live. Uh-oh, I'm being photobombed. But it's okay. It's okay. Listen, the more the merrier. That's how we do. That's how we do. So I thank y'all for tuning in to The Queen Speaks, and The Queen Has Spoken, and Queen Amina Page. I truly do appreciate y'all. So we're going to be live for the next 2 hours. And we're going to go get it. That's what we do. That's what we do. Thanks for tuning in, boo. Love you. Let's see. Uh-oh, I'm excited. I always post in this group, Being Black is Everything. I'm going to add you to this group. Okay. Because it's awesome. Like, Being Black is Everything is an awesome group.
So let me show you what I got so far. Oh, no, hold on. Let me show you what I got. On my front desk. On my front desk.
Poets Lounge. Hey, Judy, you gotta call me, boo. You gotta call me. I miss you, baby. Hey, Raul, how you doing? Q, love you, babe.
What you got on W?
Oh, that's the battery pack charging it.
This is normally how it's gonna go if we start on time. 2:45 intro.
We got this, y'all. We got this. We're gonna do what it do. You know I try, boo. You know I try. I'm trying to get it popping before I get on the road.
And based on how many guests we have every whatever, I scratched out this.
Trying to get everything out, everything dry. So I'm glad that you guys tuned in. It's all going to be popping in the field. Just bear with me, okay? Got you all.
Goes in with James Butler.
Where's that TV?
And then it's like
Trying to share it everywhere real quick before the show starts. So I appreciate you all. I miss you guys. Hey, baby. Let me see who's on here right now. Because let's see what everybody is doing. Hey, Judy. Hey, Connor. Hey, Raul. Love y'all. Let's see.
2:45 to 8 o'clock. Keep them in by the
Awesome.
Oh, you were the ones that they said came and looked for me. Okay.
Listen, it's going to be amazing tonight, okay? I'm actually going to perform. I'm going to be interviewed. It's going to be everything. Hey, Trent, how are you, boo? Listen, I appreciate you all. I really do. But like I said, don't pay attention to this drink, okay? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? That's all I'm going to say. It's 5 o'clock. So that's my disclaimer, okay?
I got a couple questions for you.
I appreciate you all. That affordable advertising, events and being
Drake, come over here while I'm showing you.
Positive images.
That's my spot. Okay, so this is how it's going to be ran down pretty much every week. This is the intro, 2:30, 2:45.
Listen, oh my God, I'm going to tell you. I have to drop the link. The Queen Station, Queen Speaks Radio, is nominated for an award. It's very first award. I haven't even been out a year, and I'm up for an award. I need y'all to vote. I'm going to put the link in the feed, and I need y'all to tune in. I need y'all to vote every single day. Every single day. Can y'all do that for me? I'm going to share it in a second. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
But just put it in justice. That's how it is citywide.
Let's see how I can do this, boo.
Then look for at 2:45 all copies.
I love y'all to death. Let me get this thing for y'all real quick.
Then we got James Butler from 3 to 3:30.
Awesome. I'm excited, you guys.
3:30 to 4, a 10-minute slot. And Amina, we're going to ask her questions and things like that. And at 3:50, she's going to do 2 minutes.
I'm excited.
You again for another 10 minutes. Then we're going to go on Islamic, which is about the addiction. I don't know if y'all watch the Data Paper thing, but I'm going to table about addiction. And that's when, from this time to this time.
All right, so I'm going to put it in the feed real quick. I need
you
y'all to vote for me, okay?
Or
do that.
events or whatever.
Just click that award thing that I just put in there. I need y'all to vote. I need y'all to vote something serious, okay? You can vote every day. I do. Thank y'all so much. I'm excited, you guys. Oh yeah, you gotta get it ready.
Oh yeah,
I'm everywhere. Listen, you guys, look, we got a bunch of people at the table. Everybody say hello to the Queen Speaks. You know, we got Miss Phoenix. And I'm sorry, sir, I did not get your name. Schoolo Records? Ski Boat Records is in the building. Y'all better throw them hearts up. Listen, this is what we do. We support black owned. This is what I'm talking about, okay? And we up in Cheers, which looks to be a black owned restaurant/bar. Y'all better come up here and get you a drink. I know I got me one, okay? And do what we do. That's how I go on this 97-degree day, okay? Because I'm hot as hell. I don't know about everybody. Hey, Opal. I love you, boo. Opal, I appreciate you. Like, you've been somebody that your name has been a part of my everything for the past 7 years. Boo thing, girl, we got to do a lunch, okay? We just do. I got to come all the way to Jersey to do a lunch with you. I swear to God I do, okay? So just hit me up, inbox me. Boo thing, yes. It's my boo thing. Everybody just inbox me. Like I said, don't pay my drink no mind because it's 5 o'clock somewhere, okay? All right. Have you? Have you seen me perform yet? Oh, nice. No? Oh, man, I wish I had some more information for you. Look at my baby, put my books and stuff. I was definitely. Uh-oh, I appreciate you. Yeah. I know I did, what did I do? I did Pandora's Box. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. He used to be. Really? I love you. I did it twice. Oh, when you see? Really? Okay. And I know Javon. Yeah, okay. Awesome. Look. Hey, Kai. Listen, Kai, you need to hit me up, okay? Before I leave. Because y'all know I'm moving to Texas. Y'all better holler at a chick. I'll be going soon. And y'all know, once I get to Texas, I'm going with my bougie mind, okay? I'm being real serious. I'm barely going to leave my house, except when I got to go to school. So, but I appreciate everybody. Y'all are awesome sauce. Upstate New York. Are you in upstate New York? Okay, well, listen, my baby's from Brooklyn. Wherever you want me to come, I'm coming to take you out, okay? That's what it is.
Much like our culture does.
Look, you know how we gotta love. We be on CP time, but it's okay.
We on CP time, but we're in here. And we have Mr. Ski Boat Records. Yes. And we have Queen Amina here.
Hey, babies.
And we have DJ Dreads and his protege, DJ.
Oh, shucks now.
And we have Queen Amina's
layout, yeah,
layouts and t-shirts. And like I said, we're down here at Cheers.
Y'all better get down here to Cheers.
And they have the world's best crab fries. And I have my crab fries are awesome. Awesome.
I'm about to give me some crab fries, y'all. Y'all just don't know.
So y'all make sure y'all come down for the live broadcast. We will have Mr. James Butler coming in shortly, and we're about to get this music cranking. We're about to get the show started, so stay tuned.
Yes. Nobody go nowhere. Here we go. Turn this around. Hey you, Texas, wow, that's awesome. You know what? Texas is quiet. I already found things for the girls to do. El Paso is. That's where I'm going, El Paso. It was quiet to me. I just sat around and ate and then went shopping and ate some more. So let's see. I'm gonna go live on here.
Definitely not quiet.
Hey! Instagram. I'm sorry, I had to get on Instagram too, y'all. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and I'm on Insta. Listen, I had to be everywhere like last year. Y'all know how we do. Okay?
I get this real camera next week.
You know what? They have Amiibo. Yes. And it links to all of your media. So when you hit live on your Mevo, it links all of them, turns them all on.
It's an actual camera?
Yes, and you can get it on Amazon.
What it's called?
Mevo, M-E-V-O. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's just that at this point I decided that the whole little setup and spiel was too much for me because the camera is one price, but the charging port that lasts 6 hours is another. So it's like, I got phones.
M-E-V-O.
Yes, M-E-V-O. It's awesome. YouTube, I appreciate y'all so much. I truly, truly do. Facebook, Instagram, I appreciate everybody. Y'all are just like really everything for me today. So everybody in the DMV area, y'all better get them cheers and get y'all a drink and some crab fries. I'm about to get them some crab fries.
What's the address here? I think it's 2122 Martin Luther King.
Oh, shucks.
Let's.
Okay. So
let's slide that way.
I am excited. Alright, you guys. I think that'll work. Y'all know how we be on CP time. Just stick with us and we got y'all, okay? That's how it goes. I can't wait to tell everybody more about myself because that's how
What time is it?
I love to talk and talk and talk. It is now
2:51.
Yeah.
Yep. You coming with me?
Alright, y'all. Here we go. I thought it was going to be more better at.
Or you could like try, because right now it's on the, you see what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to get the whole camera. Got a lot of blood in his cup. They keep trying to get me for my soul. You can take that off. I love myself.
Yeah, can I borrow that for a second since he's over here? For this one, dude.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I didn't work good.
It's just like the car one.
Oh, what's it? I know that's right, boo. Yes, okay. I need one of these. You know me, I'm a 5 and below girl, so. Let's go. She's going to say, she hooked it up. And... All right. Got a way to work something out. Y'all better holler at the queen. Down there, cheers. Get down here, DMV. We live.
As soon as we get these mics hooked up, we're going to start.
Yeah.
Good?
Break it up. I want to get us all.
Yes. All right.
Yes, I'm trying to get us all.
All right, so when you hear us talking, just go ahead and turn it down.
I'm talking about that black-owned businesses. I'm going to add you to that group too. They are amazing as well. They support, they buy, they share. Not every group does that.
All right.
Lady Caution, Brit, lucky one.
This is our first, technically, official show of Fire and Ice, Hot Topics, Cold Truths. It's been a long time coming.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here with my, I hate the word co-host. This is my second co-host.
You're sitting here with her family.
Is your mic on?
Yeah, my mic on. I'm turned up.
Damn.
Oh, okay. And to my right here, we have the beautiful Miss Queen Amina.
Hey.
Author, poet, activist, entrepreneur, queen, model, role model, everything right here. This lady is so beautiful. And I thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. You are phenomenal. Your spirit was calling me here, girl.
Amen. On
That queen power.
Yes. So today we have a couple segments we're going to do. We're going to have Starlight Spotlight, which we're going to have James Butler coming in. He's supposed to be here around 3. Everybody runs on TV time. But we love Mr. Butler, and we are going to support him. And I don't think I mentioned that I'm here sitting in Beyond's bar, who is also running for DC City Council at large. And you guys make sure you vote for her as well, because she is a phenomenal person. But we're going to have Justice for the Injustice, It's Vitality, BMB Citywide, which is news, events, and hot topics. And we're going to end off with a daily inspiration takeaway. And we're going to have music breaks by the infamous DJ Dreads and his apprentice, which we have to give him a good name.
Yeah, let's turn this around real quick so we can see them.
Well, we're going to have a good little 2 hours, like I said, each and every Saturday from 2:30 to 4:30 down here at Cheers. If you're here, welcome to the live discussion.
So live from the Fire Night Show, man, on 2122 Martin Luther King Avenue, Southeast. Come down to Cheers, man, turn up, have fun. For Black-owned business.
Amen.
Amen. So we're going to go into a little 10-minute music break. We're going to give Mr. Butler a little chance to get here. And if not, we're going to keep on with the show.
That's how we do it.
You know, special shout out to Queen Amina. You know, she's doing a lot of things in the DMV.
Yes,
and a little bit in other places as well.
Amen.
You know, to support her, she got books out, t-shirts, different products you can buy.
Yes. Got a couple deals today, a couple little book specials, couple things going on. Yes,
got book specials too.
How many books have you written?
I've written 3 poetry books and 1 novel, but my second novel is almost finished. Oh, awesome. My first poetry book I wrote was actually called Inner Soul. I independently published that, and the family came about like, oh, okay, I need royalties too. So I took that one off the market. I did a little bit more research on what I needed to do to patent and own everything. And then I opened my own publishing company. And then I came out with my own poetry books. I took all of my collection. I separated to the thought of what I was thinking when I did it. So let me see. Like this one, The Queen Has Spoken. I have a web show, internet, YouTube called The Queen Speaks. So I always speak my mind. I give a little bit of advice. I tell everybody what's going on. And this one is more like one of them books that tells you it's poetry, but it's telling you what's going on in the world. It makes you think. It makes you cry. It makes you want to be an activist. It actually makes you just want to hug everybody that you know, just because my final word is in here. It's literally like, Mama has spoken. No more talking back. That's what The Queen Has Spoken is all about. It's an awesome read. And then I came out with In the Mind of the Queen, because I said, you know what, I can't just speak and nobody know what I'm thinking about. So In the Mind of the Queen is actually my second one that came out. It's all about the different things that was going on in the world. I have a poem in here about Sandra Bland, about all the children or slayings that's going on with the police, different issues and things of that nature. So this is in my mind. This one right here, I'm not going to lie, it made me cry just writing it. And it's really one of those books that makes you think and makes you want to just say, you know what, I'm going to rally up a group and we're just going to fight the power. That's what In the Mind of the Queen is for, because I need you all to know that most queens don't think about a half a shirt and some jeans to twerk in, okay? We think about changing our children, building the minds of others, and supporting the people around us. And that's where Into the Mind of the Queen.
Where can they find your books at?
At this time, you can find all of my books on Amazon, or if you inbox me personally, I'll make sure to sign them and send them out with it. And I also send out special gifts for my awesome supporters. I really do. Then that brought me to my third one, In the Heart of the Queen, because I felt like I done spoke to y'all, I done told y'all my mind, but nobody knows my heart, what makes me tick, what makes me go. There's a poem in here called Winning. It's all about queens like Maya Angelou's, Your Sojourner Truth, and why I have the voice that I have. And it's all about my heart, what makes my heartstring, what pulls at my heartstrings, what hurts me, what builds me, and how the queen put herself together, because at 13 I was on my own. and no one really cared about my heart. And at one point, I didn't feel like I had a heart. But then I realized so many things was going on in the world that touched me. I wanted to put it on paper and see how many other people it touched. So this is my heart on paper. If y'all get it, don't y'all tear my heart up. Okay, y'all know how we are. We emotional with the heart. And then as far as my novel, If Some Wishes Came True, my life story, I'm not gonna lie, this is the opposite of my life. So what I did was took everything that I went through and I turned it around and made it a positive. This young girl has a family that supports her, loves her, wants to build her. And the streets, that's all she cared about was the street credit. What can the streets do for me? How can the streets build me? And then the streets showed her, oh, the streets don't love nobody, but they might call everyone, okay? So this book shows how she went from loving the streets, wanting to be a part of the streets, to the streets tearing her down, to her having to figure out how to build herself back up to get herself where she needed to be, where her family already thought she should have been. So it's an awesome story about trial and error, making it, and the pressures of the streets. Because people don't know, the streets don't just call men, they call women too. That's why we have the streetwalkers that we have in the situation we have in the world. So it's all about overcoming. And that's what If Some Wishes Came True is all about. It's been out for about 2 years. It's on Amazon as well. It's on my site, Queen Amina. You can search Queen Amina anywhere and you will find any of my books, or just inbox me personally. I'll send them out. I'm working on another project. It's called Queenie Secrets. Okay. It's coming. It's going to be a fall release. It's about everything about me is always based out of Philadelphia because that's where I'm from. I'm a Philly native. Okay.
What's that?
Oh, I'm from East Side, so which is Germantown. They're King High School, if everybody knows. East Side stand up. And Queenie Secrets is all about a young girl who basically didn't know her family, didn't know where she was from. She was raised by her grandmother, and by an interesting turn of events, this young girl becomes one of the most educated assassins that you could ever meet. Yes, a different role for us black women. Yeah, because she's in college, so you don't think, you know, how she's paying for college. This woman is a paid assassin. So it was an interesting book for me to try to step into the role. You know, I tried to put myself into it, and her story actually is awesome. It's very awesome.
I know we saw it off earlier and we went into it, so we might have to keep going. So what inspired you to be a writer?
Honestly, the inspiration comes from the fact that no one believed in me, except me. And I decided to say, you know what, I'm going to prove everyone in the world wrong, and I'm going to be the queen that I'm supposed to be. I don't know if you all know about Queen Amina, the warrior, princess of Africa. I grew up learning about her. My librarian, that's when, you know, librarians were librarians, and when she found out my name, she gave me that book on Warrior Queen Amina, and I felt like she was so phenomenal, I had to walk in her shoes. And then I fell in love with Edgar Allan Poe. I love him. And then I fell in love with Maya Angelou. And when I heard her story, how she didn't even speak until she was 9 years old, and she overcame every obstacle in her way. She taught herself 37 languages, taught herself. And I said, you know what? Nobody believed in her either. Right. It's time for me to prove to myself that I can do what everyone thinks I can't do. And that's where my motivation came from. That's how I got started. So one day I bought a big old easel paper that was like almost the size of this desk. I laid my body on it. I started writing. Once I filled it up, I said, you know what? That's God.
So you can edit my book for me now.
I do. I have editors. I have a price sheet with me. Listen, I got everything with me. Hold on. Let me pass you a price sheet. Here you go, baby. I got editors. I got graphic designers. I got everything on demand. Ask and you shall receive, okay?
So you said you have your own publishing company?
Yes. I just opened my own publishing company last year thanks to the support of my husband.
Okay. Shout out to the husband.
Yes. Sergeant Taylor. Appreciate you. Love you, baby. The thing is, you know, everything I was doing on my own. And I felt like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm getting it. I'm building it. And the different agencies I was with, they were jerking me, or they were using my name to build themselves. And then my husband sat down and put a buck in my ear. He said, baby, everything you're doing, you can do by yourself. And then you can keep all of that to yourself, for yourself. And then you don't have to promote outside, especially the people that are around you that you're with. They're not promoting you. You're promoting them. You're building them. It's time for you to build your brand. So with him being my backbone, he gave me the strength and the courage to step out on my own and say, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And it's been rising ever since.
I see. So who is Queen Amina?
Queen Amina is the strength and the minds and inspiration of young voices that are not heard. That's how I look at myself. I speak up for the young women who were abused, were beaten, were thrown to the wolves, were just put out there. I am that voice that everybody tried to silence, that decided I will not whisper. I'm a roar. And that's Queen Amina.
Why is poetry important to you?
You know what? Poetry is so important to me because the voice and the way you can close your eyes and feel the words, feel the spirit that that person wrote the poem, feel the ambiance and what they were feeling when they wrote it down. That's why poetry is so important, because it surrounds you. Sometimes somebody can do a poem and it gives you goosebumps on your chest and on the back of your neck, and it just makes you say, you know what? I'm motivated.
All right, so for the people who don't know, give us a sample of some of your work.
Okay. Well, for the people who don't know, I don't freestyle. I'm more of a writer than a reciter. So I'm going to do 2 poems for you guys tonight. I'm going to do a little quick, little Queen Amina poem real quick. Let's see. I'm sorry, you guys. I do. I don't memorize. I'm a reciter. I'm a writer, not a reciter. But I'm going to do something small for
We're
them.
going to take a 5-minute music break so that you can get ready.
And
you can stand up and do it.
Awesome. I'm going to give you guys 2 poems, and I'll give you guys 2 poems that I know, so somebody don't come at my neck.
Okay.
But I appreciate, I appreciate the challenge, because if nobody challenges you, you don't know where to go.
He manages artists, so he makes sure
I love
you're
it.
on your toes. And that's what you want. Are you a freestyler or are you a writer?
I'm a writer. I'm trying to learn how to be a reciter.
Okay.
I'm trying to come from behind the scenes and actually finally get up on the stage.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just like that myself.
Really? Okay.
All right, so we're going to take a quick music break, and we'll be back with Queen Amina. She's going to take us back.
Awesome. Y'all better stay tuned. All right, I'm going to breathe, because that's one of my favorites. I just hold the books that they like my promotionals. Yes. Now, somebody tell me who Kiki really is. I keep seeing the Kiki challenge. Who is Kiki?
I don't know, and I actually did the little Kiki
This is the Kiki challenge. I've been trying to figure out who Kiki is.
I know they were sitting there looking like, if you don't sit your whole behind there, I still got it in me.
Look, somebody said to me, what if Kiki was Riri? And I said, wait, is Kiki Riri? I don't know. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Stay tuned in, y'all. Queen's gonna bless the mic.
Live from 21, 22, MLK Avenue, South End. Right here at Cheers. Come get some fries. Turn up. We got a DJ Codes right here.
Man, break down. You gotta go in the back end. Know the rules, good. Shit, man.
You gotta feed the DJ. Feed for work. I know that.
He
gonna pack his stuff up in a minute. Crab fries or music?
Can't figure it out. I'm gonna try them crab fries. My face not right here. Like I tell my husband, I'm not one of them putting eaters, okay? I remember the first day I have crab stuff all on my shirt. It's to the point where we stop at restaurants, he gets some napkins and put it in my shirt immediately. He's like, listen, because I know how you are. Because I was like, I got a bad white on. You already and you drinking real. Exactly. Because you know me, I'm like, I gotta stay in, you gotta go home. So I'm excited.
Spirit finger.
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
I'm gonna do this one because I love it. Oh my God, like so this one I don't know, but I have to. We want God to light the way today. The copyright, everything else is pretty on. I want to create things. And the only thing I had to do by now, I was I'm by my own life. But it was worth it to add them to my tape files. Nobody else could get me anyway from my tape. Amazon couldn't get it on my tape. But Amazon just has, if the book is 15, they take I'm saying? They only sending you 5. Now with mine, my little thing, take your thing, unload that damn thing. I had to go through it myself. So, it's this one. Yes. How long did it take you to write? That's the one I jumped on the Eagle paper and wrote. It took me about 9 months to finish it. But because it's on Eagle paper, it took me even longer to type it up. Because can you imagine me trying to put that big art Eagle paper on the computer door and try to type from it? It took me a little while. But once I got it typed up, I gave it to the editor. It took only 30 days. Well, I actually tell a young lady that if you want, you will sit there while you actually take the word to her and she types it up. Are you serious? That's what I want to do with my book, Phoenix Lindsey. I want it to be a movie. I also have a trilogy that I'm writing called Where the Loyalty Lies. I don't talk about that one yet too much because I'm only on the first part of it. When I get to the end of the second one, then I'll talk about it. But it's all about a young man who wanted to leave the project, but in order first he wanted to take over the project and then get out. Was it? But what he did on his way, he messed up with so many women. These women been crowded together to become a group that he don't even know about. And they come for him, okay? This is what I'm saying. He thought he was going to be the boss. He don't even know he was about to be in that trunk. I'm trying to tell you.
You know they did that one. There was another TV show like that.
The one with Bill okay. But that was an old one. And they took him because he was a player. I remember that. What was that movie? But this one, though, it's kind of different because he actually was in school and he tried to get his daughter's mom out of the project. He was so used to being good with. He didn't want to go to where he was rich. He was famous. He gets out. And when he's already in school, he has somebody else pregnant that doesn't want to be in the hood. He's moving on without her. But then all the other young ladies talking to his mom and helping them. It becomes
and I want to make a fight with
You know what? I want to help you write a book. I need you to call me. Like, honestly, I need more people to support their own. Yeah, I need more writers that are passionate and serious about getting their books out. But so many people hit me up like, oh, I have a book idea. I say, okay, call me. Let's send them my direct number. I have my written type it out here sitting here like, oh no, I got somebody that can type it out for you. And you can edit it in 444-9029. And that number all of y'all can use if y'all want to get your books out, okay? 240-444-9029. It's for everybody. Hit me up. I'm publishing everyone, okay? Y'all better hit my price sheet up. Let's go. Yes, ma'am. You want to stand up here? Okay. You better turn this around. I'm going to do this one first. All right, y'all. It's me and thank you for him. Here we go.
Live from the Fine Night Show at 2122 MLK Avenue. Cheers. I guess I'll be ice. I guess this is 5. You know, we got Queen of Minute down here. Brother just walked in the building.
Mr. James Butler just walked in.
So we about to turn up and tune in. Actually, I'm gonna get a man in my seat so I can sit down and be interviewed once a line.
All right.
And I'm gonna pass the microphone to him. Just for brother. How you doing?
Hey, I'm well. Good afternoon, folks. How are you all today? Thank you. I'm well. Who could complain on a nice day like today? So, sorry we're running a little bit behind. You can blame it on my chief of staff who has just walked in the door. So, you know, we blame everything on the chief of staff these days. So, shout out to DMV. As most of you probably know, I'm running as a write-in candidate against Muriel Bowser. We challenged her in primary. Unfortunately, we came in second. Also unfortunate with that, I believe the city came in second. Because I believe we need a mayor that's going to focus on people and not big businesses and developers. A mayor that's not going to skirt the tough questions in the city. We've got a number of problems, and we need a mayor that's going to be in the trenches, a people's mayor. And I know that's what I can bring to DC. Not only can I bring the intellect, but I can bring the heart to DC. And so I'm asking you all on November 6th to write in James Butler. We have a heavy campaign right now. We know the numbers were low, and that particularly in Ward 8, only 8% of the people came out to vote. We know that what happened on primary day was not the will of the people, but what it was a result of apathy. It was a result of people not coming out and voting in the numbers that we must do. We have to be at the table if we expect change. So what I'm asking you, DMV, that allow us to bring the vote to your home. I'm not sure if all of you are aware, but you can vote, anyone, military or not, you can vote absentee from your home. Literally 45 days before the voting booths vote, you can vote absentee from your home. And we're planning to literally register 50 to 100,000 people from their home and do exactly what Anthony Williams did in 2002. We will rock the vote, and we're going to change the Wilson building.
So for the people that don't know you, tell us a little bit of background about yourself.
Oh, thank you. I'm a trial lawyer by training. I've been in D.C. for 16 years. I'm a commissioner in the Ward 5 part of the city. I live in the Trinidad part of the city. Have lived there about 5 years, or 6 years. Have lived in Upper Northwest, in Columbia Heights, for 10 of those years, since I've been in Cleveland. I should say, since I've been in Columbia Heights. Prior to that, I was in Cleveland, which is where I was born and raised. I have a bachelor's degree from Kent State University and a Juris Doctorate degree from the Ohio State University. Come from a family of 7. I am child number 6 of 7, and large family in many respects today. And most of my work, the majority of my life, has been civil rights work. I've participated in or handled or settled or tried nearly 300 civil rights cases. I continue to do a lot of philanthropic work around DC and volunteer work. I'm about helping people. That's what my life has been dedicated to. I'm 42 years old. I'll be 43 this year. And I imagine the next 40 plus years of my life will be continuously dedicated to helping people. Awesome. And I know we need a mayor that really is going to be able to connect with people. And it's about dedicating their life to people. And I ask you to research the background of your mayors and see what they've done in the past. Have they been career politicians, or have they been in the trenches actually helping people?
So since we're on the topic, you know, what are your plans about helping the homeless?
I'm glad you asked that, because that is something that I'm very passionate about. Not only do I sit on the board of the Naturally Ivy Foundation for the Homeless, located in California, where Skid Row is. Homeless is not the same any and everywhere. It's very different when you go out to LA and you see it. I've been very entrenched here in the homeless community as well, helping homeless. We have several people in our campaign team that also are homeless. I recently laid out a 3-part plan in Street Sense on how we can end homelessness in DC. It starts like this, and none of these are mutually exclusive, but they will work in a symbiotic way to reduce homelessness in the city. And that is, first, I believe we've got 6,000 to 8,000 nonprofits in the district that if we work with those homeless institutions, those nonprofits, and we get each and every one of them involved, literally just to adopt one person, just to adopt one single person. If your church adopted one homeless person in the city, I know factually we could be well on our way to reducing homelessness. Right. Now, we know arguably that all of these nonprofits and churches will not participate in this, but what we do know is that if we had a quarter of them just to participate in this, that we'd be well on our way to reducing. Right. Secondly is this. I laid out the plan that with a $14.5 billion budget, we're taking literally just 0.3% of that. That equates to about $43 million. We'd be well on our way to building enough shelters to handle our issues of chronic homelessness in the district. So everyone's talking about close DC General down. Well, we do need a place to put these people before we close it. Right. And so the mayor had an opportunity to close it back in 2015. We all know about that. She didn't do it because it was found after an investigation that was pushed by Mary Che that she was tied to the people that owned the properties. These people also went on a trip to China with her. And that's why they had the table pushing the 8 homeless shelters throughout all 8 wards. Now, the Washington Post and other media outlets don't want to talk about those things, but you know what? It's time people start talking about reality and stop living in an obtuse, silo and thinking these things don't go on. We've got a corrupt, non-transparent mayoral administration that's currently in the Wilson building, and we, the people, must do something about it. So that second part that I named, taking 0.3% of our budget, literally will allow us to build shelters. Primarily, my plan is building shelters that deal specifically with abandoned buildings and getting homeless people to participate in that. That will bring jobs to them. And the third part is do not close DC General until there is an adequate, dignified, and sufficient replacement for homeless people. And I said people. That's important. We don't treat people because they happen to be homeless at that point in their life any different, because I said people.
You come out a lot and participate in the community a lot. Like when we had a non-profit organization, with the ship, go off work the research who is running for office.
Right, and that's unfortunate. You're right about that.
They just go off of who sounds good to them or who they see a lot.
Well, you're right about that. We're going to do some things. We've got some things up our sleeve to really get some great public exposure. I am challenging Muriel Bowser to a couple things, including an IQ debate and a social intelligence debate. So you can broadcast that out on the media. Anyone, if you're Facebook Living this, you share that. I am challenging her to an IQ test, and I'm also challenging her to a social intelligence test. Awesome. Now put that out on social media.
You heard that first, live.
You heard it live from the big space. I got chairs across from the big chair, folks, right from the southeast. Bring her up here.
Yeah. So we had a lot of police brutality. Thank you guys for your service. Okay, so yes, we're about to go into something that I know you guys probably. And not all police are bad. I know that. But there's a vast majority out there that tend to use their power in a way that is not good, because once you get a record, you can't get housing, you can't get jobs, and you're placed on a certain stigma where a lot of times, and I know this because I went through the system. For instance, I was placed on a GPS box, and I always called that the scarlet letter. Nobody knew why I was on that box, but all they knew is I was on it, and therefore I was a criminal. So that's one thing, is educating our probation officers and our police and things about the new generation that's coming through. Because now the new generation is like, hey, well, F it. You guys don't respect me, I'm not going to respect you. And they're starting to clap back at the police. and not look at them as an authority figure. What do you plan on doing to unify the community back with authority?
Right. Well, thank you for that question, Phoenix. Let me tell you this, during my practice years, this is something I'm extremely passionate about. Way before cell phone cameras weren't widespread, I was doing what is known as Section 1983 cases in federal court, where police misconduct cases, they're also referred to, where police abuse their authority. So this is something extremely passionate to me, not only as a black man as in America, where we have been disproportionately affected by police misconduct cases. It's extremely important to me, and I respect the officers that are behind the cameras so they can see. But also at the same time, like anything, we know that some people abuse their authority.
They do.
And especially today, I am happy to know that we have cameras on phones and people are using it. People understand their constitutional rights to film a police officer. And where there are these issues of police misconduct, we will prosecute them. We will make sure that police officers are held accountable. I am also going to be doing an interview with Chief Newsham in a couple weeks. And I'll sit right beside Chief Newsham and tell him, as mayor, it is not out of the realm of possibility that I will terminate Chief Newsham and get a new chief. That's a possibility. All options as mayor are on the table. We need real leaders in this town, not just figureheads. And real leaders aren't afraid to do the hard stuff. We are not afraid to do the hard stuff. And I promise you, I will tell them that. Because I believe that wrongdoing comes from the top down. And I believe that this stuff that we're seeing now, and I appreciate folks like the Commissioner Lorenzo that's been exposing some of the police misconduct, the illegal stop and frisk things that have been going on around here. We really need to shore up to make sure police are acting within the scope of the law. Now, the flip side of that is too, we are not without responsibilities as uncles, as aunts, as fathers, as mothers, as sisters, as brothers, to make sure that our young people have a proper foundation. To make sure that until we can get more boys and girls clubs, to make sure until we can get more rec centers, that our kids are staying out of trouble, that they are keeping the right company. Those are the things that we as a community can actually do. So this is a two-way street. It's not all on the police. It's on us too. So we as a community, when I was growing up, and when I know many of us were growing up, we had neighbors that would look out.
It's a big thing with the youth nowadays, as far as with the young generation, where, you're getting harassed. Like you said, if it was more boys and girls clubs like it used to be, more arcade spots and things like it used to be, where they have outlets. Because, you stay stuck in a box one day, all day long, you create a mental health issue. A lot of people growing up in the ghettos in different communities come up with post-traumatic syndrome disorders. So it's like we got a lot to attack, but as long as you take a step at a time and make it happen, it can work.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and I'm glad you mentioned the mental health issue. We as a community, we've stigmatized mental health far too long, folks, especially black men. Black men that come out of prison, I know that nearly 41%, and I was talking with at a CSOSA roundtable not too long ago, nearly 41% have some mental or behavioral health issue. Now, with these issues that remain untreated, why wouldn't you expect people to recidivate? If you let them out of prison, they have a mental or behavioral health issue, and that remains untreated, of course, your chances of recidivating or going back to prison are extremely high. So we need to stop stigmatizing mental health issues as a community. It's just like if you have diabetes, no one talks about, hey, I'm going to take that insulin, or most people don't. You give yourself a shot. If you have anxiety or depression or whatever it is, bipolar, you might have to give yourself a shot or medicate. It's nothing wrong with it. The brain is an organ in the body, just like everything else.
But speaking about the guys coming home from prison, I was one of the guys. I got a history, yes. But I'm also doing a lot of positive things in the community to change my.
And you are, and my hat is off.
And my thing about it is, like, I'm one of them guys who I'm used to doing it my way. You know, used to being my own boss, used to doing it, but I'm doing something different now. But what I think is unfair is that you got guys coming home from prison and they go through crossing confinement, which is a good program they got set up, but they're not even paying them minimum wages. They paying them $9.50 an hour, but it's not even enough to take care of themselves. So how can they afford housing, or how can they afford to change their life or better themselves? I mean, it's some money to put in your pocket. Don't get me wrong, but you know they need at least minimum wage.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I'm glad you brought this up. My chief of staff, and one of my social media directors, we were at a 4th of July party, and we honestly weren't aware of this until someone, a returning citizen, did bring this to our attention. So I've literally known about this for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And my recommendation to him was to file with the Department of Labor, and then I'm going to help him. I'm in the process of helping him go to the Attorney General Carl Racine's office, because I believe DC is breaking the law. I believe DC is breaking the law. And that was exactly what I told my chief of staff. I told him that. And I'm saying this right now where people can record it and hear me Facebook Live. I believe the district is breaking the law. And I will talk to Carl Racine about looking into this.
Like me for myself, you know, even though I'm doing a lot of positive things in the community, the time I pay a bill to, I'm scrambling from week to week to make it to work.
It's tough.
You know,
trust me, this is a tough city to live in now. It is really, and I'm not laughing, but the seriousness that you espouse that with, it is a tough city to live in these days. So I feel you, definitely. And but to be paid under minimum wage is not only illegal, but a slap in the face.
Amen.
I mean, it really is. That's a shame.
Even if, let's just say, even if we wanted an apartment, you know, they closing programs for returning citizens with the apartment situation. Like, they are closing places, or let's just say they went through certain programs and got housing, but now that they close the programs, they're trying to put their people out of the apartment. You know, and I don't think that's fair if they, you know, earned their way and got a job and trying to better themselves. It's like hindering them and pushing them back in the corner to survive.
Well, it's systemically discriminating against black and brown people. This is a housing crisis that is disproportionately affecting black and brown people. And we as a people, our numbers are still the majority in this city. We are still 47%. That is, we are the majority in this city still, because whites are 30, and I think the other is other. And so I'm saying this to make a point, not to sow seeds of division.
Right.
And my point is this: if we expect better, we have to do better.
Right.
And that doing better starts by being at the table and voting.
Right.
Now I have a question. I want to know about the different changes in the schools. It's like they're busing children in from areas they don't live in. Those children are getting off the bus. Instead of going into schools, they're going to the surrounding areas. They're vandalizing. They're doing other things they shouldn't be doing. Then they go back to the schools, and the schools are not held accountable, because what I'm told, because it happened in my neighborhood, is once they're off of school property or off of school grounds, it's not the school's issue. But it's on school hours, and they should be in those classrooms. How can we fix what's going on with the school system at this point? Because I feel like they're breaking it.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the tail end of that, because I agree with you on that. Even from the top down, we need serious fixes. But let me just hone in on your question specifically, these issues of truancy, because that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
I know that we have a truancy department with DC MPD, and I think we need to embolden them. I think we need to make it more robust.
Okay.
But in addition to that, I really do believe that parents need to be responsible. So we can't suspend kids for doing bad stuff. We need to start suspending parents.
Or
if you
finding
got a
them.
child, we're finding them. Or if you've got social services, now this is going to be controversial, I'm going to say it, but if you got WIC or TANF and your child is supposed to be in school and not making it there, we might cut it off. We might cut it off.
That might be good.
You have a responsibility to get your child to school. And you also have a responsibility to make sure your child stays in school once your child makes it to school.
Okay.
You know, I mean, come on now. I had a daddy that if you did anything like that, come on now.
I think that goes back to the mental health thing. You know, when people are put in certain situations, You know, they fending for themselves, and they might be being a parent to the child, but at the same time, they trying to make sure their child has some food on the table.
You're right.
That doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And whenever somebody says mental health, I always have to. Hi, man.
Good, yeah.
But like I said, a little bit about my story is I had a suicide attempt 2.5 years ago, and it was in Maryland. And suicide is not illegal anywhere in the United States. It is immoral, yes, but I was suffering from PTSD, postpartum, and massive depression. My act, they then criminalized it, and I was faced with 6 first-degree attempted murder charges, which they pled me down to reckless endangerment, which I now have a record. Okay. Mental health and depression and things, most people that are depressed, yes, they act out, but you'll find it that they kind of like go into a shell more or less, and they cut themselves off from society.
Okay.
Okay. And yes, it can be passed down from mother to child. It can be very hereditary, you know, just like diabetes and things, so on and so forth. Mental health can be a disease. It can be cured, yes, but it has to be monitored. So with that being said, and I think this is with black families, period, they're too ashamed to say, hey, we have a mental health issue because they don't want to be labeled as crazy.
Absolutely right. You know, I think you're 100%.
Yes.
I think with the whole situation, if we giving the kids and the parents more to do in the communities, unify the communities to bring it back to how it used to be. If you saw my child outside, you would whoop his butt. You know what I mean? If I saw your child outside, I would whoop his butt. Or I would discipline him. Or, you know, it was more structure in the communities. But being as though it's so much dysfunction in the communities now, we need to tighten up as a nation of people to get back to the roots of what we originally was doing.
True.
We do, and I mean, there are a number of reasons, I think, that we've become less jointed and more disjointed as a community. Some of that is social media. We have to blame some of it. You know, people can get to stay in their little obtuse world by, you know, dealing with their social media friends. I have friends, no, don't hit me up on Messenger. Call me. Come and see me. You know?
Yes. I have a question.
Text message. Call me.
Yes.
Exactly.
My phone number is there.
I hit you up on Messenger. No. So, but I really do think we're less connected because of the world of the social media that we live in. Yeah. So yeah, there is a lot of work. They're back here. We didn't run it away.
Blue Lives Matter.
No, I really do appreciate the police officers. You let something go down right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm running and dialing 911, right? Don't we all do that? So we love our police officers.
Well, I do have a question.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Because, as far as back to the schools, because my son, his last year of school, it was a young man who made a point to want to, I guess, try to attack my son, my son's in the Marines now, so he's awesome. He's fine. And he's an awesome kid.
Appreciate his service to the country, too.
Yes, thank you. But he, the thing was, when everything happened, when they brought the mother in, she was oblivious to anything going on with her son. The thing is, how can we get the help for those parents besides just cutting off their benefits, besides just saying, okay, you're not aware of what your child is doing? Awesome husband. But
congratulations.
Awesome husband. Sorry to tell though. But yeah,
that's funny.
But I don't, parents, even though they should be accountable, some parents are working that hard just to make ends meet. They don't know what their children are doing. So to punish them by taking away their medical or their TANF or their whatever, that's punishing the whole family, and the mother is really trying to help. How can we get those parents the help that they need to be a part of these children's lives?
And thank you for that question. That's a very astute question. And I don't want people to misconstrue that I just want to take away that, or I would even do that. That was just kind of a hypothetical of some kind of sanction that we could.
Right.
Yeah, given.
Because some parents do know, though.
So,
some parents do know.
Exactly. But your question it really strikes at the heart of really understanding the city very deeply. Because for me to say that your analogy is not real would be foolish of me. Your analogy is real. It is very real.
I lived it.
And I know that some people probably have lived worse scenarios, more worse scenarios than that. But I will say this, that I believe sometimes we have to train the kids, but I think sometimes we have to train the parents as well. And part of that would be a program similar to that we wanted to roll out, and what we will. It's an after-sport hours program, and it literally trains the parent, and you can find a little more about this on my website. That is www.butlerformayor.com.
Awesome.
That's Butler, the word formayor.com. Awesome. But we want to roll out this program. It's an after-school program, literally free to parents, that will help parents get your kid into college. Just get your kid into a vocational program. But maybe the same as with that program, we need to do something, and we're open for discussion on this, about training parents on the basics. How do you keep your kid out of trouble?
Okay.
Well,
How do you rear your child?
I'm willing to teach that class for you.
Okay.
I really am.
The verbal contracts are binding, you know.
Yes, I do.
He don't keep you to his word.
Hey, I keep my word.
Phoenix in a training class on Thursday.
I'm coming with Phoenix.
Okay. Well, that's why we got programs out here like the Hope Foundation and Triumphant Leaders, who are coming together in Brothers Huddle, that's coming together to help the community, especially for Ward 8. That's why we established a team called Sugar Lions. That's why I brought Skibo Records into play, because we're trying to build something for the community that is helping the community. There's something positive in the community instead of saying drama all day. Like, in a basic community, you don't need cable. Everything is outside. So we're trying to basically build structure in the community, which we helped tear down in the past, but we helping to build it back up today.
Can I tell you this? You are a real life role model. You really are.
Yes.
You've lived through some stuff. You're doing good to help people. And you know the path they walked. Who can help them better get on the right course than you? You are a real life role model. Yeah, I'm going to tell Richie Rich that too if he ain't watching. I know he has to cook out today. Yeah. He's sending out a messenger again, despite the fact that he has my number.
We do that because it's easier.
Sometimes it's easier to hit a master. Sometimes
you can't dial our phone. We don't want to get a ticket, text message.
Yeah.
So we could just easily speak it.
I got you. Yeah. But no, you are a role model. I hope you know that. Really. Yeah.
I'm trying to get us all in a position to win.
Yeah.
Because it's about helping the community give it back, and also doing something constructive. Like, if you're not saying something good, why say it at all?
Amen.
Say thank the community. If you're saying down the community, it's time for you to give it back.
Absolutely.
So many people have so many negative things to say, but what are you doing to change it? That's my
It's easy to point the negative out.
Right.
What are you doing to change it?
Exactly.
It's 100% right.
So before we close out, I just want you to explain a little bit more about the DC Voter Act, because I think that is awesome.
Okay, so folks, let me explain it right now. And go in the app, and it looks just like that. Once you're in the app, you just hit request an absentee.
I love it.
And you agree with the terms here. You put your first, last name, and the last four of your social in it. You hit done after that. You'll sign with your finger, and you'll get your absentee vote ballot 45 days before the general election. That means you get to vote from home.
Awesome.
That means, folks, you never have to go to a voting booth.
Awesome.
You get to vote from home.
Awesome. I like to do things from home.
Vote from home. You can't vote from home. There are no lines. You can't say you didn't have to wait. You couldn't get off of work. You were voting from home 45 days before the general election.
Yes.
Okay. I'm having way too much fun.
That is a whole.
I really do appreciate the invitation here today. Folks, it's butlerformayor.com. I'm asking that you write my name, James Butler, in for mayor. You know I came in second to Muriel Bowser in the primary. Therefore, now I must run as a write-in candidate. That's Butler for Mayor, James Butler, on November 6th. Don't make me have to yell it.
I'm with Fab Science, the company.
Okay.
Banners, logos, flyers, backdrops, table wraps, car wraps.
That's good.
everything you need.
We were just talking about that on the way up here.
Yeah.
So do you do those like screens? Say the name of your company again.
Fast Signs.
Fast Signs. Okay, right. Okay.
fastsigns.com.
So do you do the screens for the back window where you can still see out, but it can say Butler for mayor?
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to talk about that. We'll talk about it offline. Okay.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we got a field question. You got a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Me being a non-resident of DC, but I'm a service member as well. And when I come through DC and every other state, I notice that every state, every city is doing regentrification in their areas. You got people that's been living in their areas 20 plus years. The area, of course, economically, yes, needs to grow, but at the same time, the value of the properties go up where no one can afford it, and these people are going to other locations. Me and my wife is from Maryland, I'm from New York City. These residents are now coming into areas where there's better schools, cost of living is decent, the crime rate is going up. What if you became mayor, how would you be able to keep your residents, the same residents that voted for you, to come in office in the areas that they can afford without being pushed out by the gentrification of the business owners or the new developers coming in your area?
Okay, well, thank you for that question, and thank you for your service to the country, too. I want to prelude with that, but let me address that. It's not going to be easy, but let me tell you what my plan to do that is. We know that the median income east of the river is $40,000 per household per annum. We know west of the river it's $120,000 per annum. So my belief is that if you give a tax break to a for-profit developer east of the river, what you get in return matters. We know also east of the river that 80% of the people are renters. And so in order to keep people east of the river, we're going to need to throw out and reprogram our mind from this terminology of affordable housing and start thinking income-based housing. Housing, literally, that's based on your income with educational and vocational streams attached. So, Mr. Developer, if you want to build that high-rise right there, you're not going to say you're going to set aside 10% of the units for affordable housing. You're going to do it based on income. That's the only path forward, really, for the bottom quarter of earners in this city. In addition to that, within our first 100 days, I will put a bill before DC Council to move for rent control. Every major city that has gentrified in the country has rent control, except for DC. We have an antiquated version of rent control. Our rent control operates like this. If your building was built after 1975, it is not subject to rent control. So if your building was built in the last 43 years, you're not subject to rent control. Any building built prior to 1975 can be rent controlled. Well, how many people live in a building that was built prior to 1975? Not many. We need to get rid of this antiquated rent control bill in DC and move for a real rent control like they have in New York City. I will do that in the first 100 days. In addition, that if you're going to get a tax break as a for-profit developer east of the river, you will provide income-based housing, or you will not take DC dollars and operate in the district. Simple as that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. That's a big fight, though. We got a lot on our hands, huh?
We got a lot on our hands, and that's why a lot of the establishment is afraid of me. I owe no one in DC anything. I am not beholden to any developer, any of the establishment in DC. I will shake the chains off of this thing in DC. I will be a mayor of everyone, but a champion for the underserved and the underrepresented in the district. I will shake the chains off of it.
I love it. I love it.
I
I love it. I'll be voting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I know we've been bombarding you with questions.
And I love them too. I'm just getting started, Phoenix.
We got to warm you up for Mayor Bowser.
Yes.
I
Yes.
am more than ready for a Bowser. Trust me. Trust me on that.
I got one more question.
That's why Bowser avoided me over every single debate. She didn't show up. She's not ready.
Okay, my last question. We have kids that's graduating in the next following school year. There's a lot of kids that want to go to college. There's not a lot of scholarship programs out there. Being there in Cost City to go to college, even though it's cheaper. But how can you? What would you propose for these kids to go to college for a substantial rate or for free in the state of DC County or anywhere else. Like you got other students coming in, how would you disrupt or how could you balance out a child in your district or in the state, in the city, to go a little bit more than the minimum amount, especially if they're coming from areas of low income areas or mid income areas where there's a single parent, or even the income in the house is substantial to the point where they can't sustain themselves.
Well,
I think not to
go. No, you're not cutting me off. You go ahead.
If we bring more life into the community, you know what I mean, as far as more structure, like we said, and more programs in the community where they don't have to go far. I think that would help a lot, you know. But I'm gonna let you take it over from here.
No, that's what they hire mayors to do. Take the tough questions. But DC is unique. School is free in DC if you want to go to school in DC. You can go to UDC, and I hope all of you are aware of this, for free. You're a resident of the district, you can essentially go to UDC for free.
I didn't know that.
So now, there are several campuses here. I think our guidance counselors need to encourage that more. If I were a DC resident, I would really, really take advantage of that. Because, am I correct on that?
No, you're correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wanted to make sure I'm not misstating, and then the masses come down here too.
Because I know they have the workforce program.
It's a workforce program, but it's dealing with like Van Ness, P.R. Hurst, Shad Elementary when it was open, and a few other places that you go in there and actually get training courses for 90 days, depending on what field you're in. If you take a nursing or something, it's like a year program, and you get certified with your license.
That's what I thought.
You get certified in the field.
Okay, so my question, and they don't tell you this in high school a lot of times. My associate's degree cost me $70,000 a year. Wow. Yeah, I am still paying Sally Mae, and I will probably be paying her till I'm dead.
We can combine our Sally Mae's together. Navient took over my student loan.
Mine did too.
Yeah, so Navient.
And I have went to the RSC in Washington, but I'm going for my bachelor's now, and I'm actually applying for UDC. I have VA benefits through my husband and so on and so forth. But because I don't get the full 100%, I'm still left with 50%. And like I said, even, let's say each credit hour is $300.
Right.
Okay, VA pays for $150. I'm left with $150. You know, but you times that by 12. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I had lived in DC when I did all my college work, I would have definitely gone to UDC. Because what Phoenix just emphasizes the point that literally you could save $70,000 by getting an associate's degree at UDC. Education is free here. So I just think there needs to be this better pipeline, this better outreach to let kids know that literally you can go to school for free. You don't have to head to Hampton right away. You don't have to head to Spelman or Morehouse right away. You can still get a real good education. Once you can get those first 2 years, decide what you want to do, really, because who knows?
I'm not even in the field that I paid $70,000 for.
Phoenix, for some reason, I believe you. You said that so emphatically.
But you know, even Howard University is reaching out. They got a program called Inside Outside, which the nonprofit took place in. We're dealing with Dr. Muhammad and Nick Cannon. You know, and they're stepping up to help the community. And they come in and even if you get, at least you can go to Howard and sit in their class if it's enough space. Right. You can sit in each professor's class, whether it's dealing with religion or whether it's dealing with criminology, sociology, and get educated.
You know, and folks, folks always talk about, I need to know my rights or know all of this. I know my rights. No. Sit in one of those constitutional law classes. Sit in just even an undergraduate level constitutional law class. You'll learn so much about your rights that actually might spurn their interest to want to do more stuff. We need some more black lawyers and some more black doctors and engineers. And we need also our teachers to emphasize that, everyone's not, college isn't for everyone. Learning is for everyone, but college is.
Yes.
So if you can be one of the best plumbers in the world, or electricians in the world, you can have a super good life by having a vocation.
Yeah.
Really. And be a very productive, tax-paying citizen in this world by doing that. So I just really believe, to answer your question in a more distilled fashion, that we need to really make sure that our educators, that our career counselors, our guidance counselors are letting kids know that really right here in D.C. you can save yourself $70,000 like Phoenix.
But I mean, a lot of them are not resourceful, and that's what I do notice when you do go to school. A lot of them are not resourceful as far as guidance counselors, because a lot of them are coming out of state to come to your job markets because economically it makes sense to them. But they don't know what is the possibilities for the students or the children of this district, or what life is outside. And me being a New York City kid and went to FAMU, I actually went and researched it on my own. And I mean, that college campus didn't make it all the way to New York. I had to go to the campus itself. So a lot of times, it's not always on the counselor. The student has to take advantage of what's out there to them. Like you said, they have to go and take the initiative to actually look for the opportunity. A lot of them don't. But at the same time, there's not a lot of encouragement outside of high school to go and get a degree. It's better to go and get a job, or be a street pharmacist, or basically go in the military.
What's a street pharmacist now?
or go in the military, which a lot of students are not educated when they come to me. And me being a staff sergeant in the United States Army, I have to be able to educate them in a way to survive outside, to come back to DC or any other environment. So that's a big problem in every school district, not only your own, but as a politician leader. I just wanted to see what your mindset is as far as helping the new generation of kids coming, because a lot of them are lost. A lot of their parents don't have the education to advise them to which direction to take them, because they don't know themselves, because they have the same issues.
Well, and that was what I was hinting at earlier. Your question is certainly well taken, that on our website, well over when we launched the campaign last August, that was one of the programs we laid out. A program for parents specifically, and educating the parents on how you can get your kids into college or vocational program. This program would span literally all 4 years of high school for parents, and it's free of charge. So this is something that I believe will help bridge the gap that exists right now. For me to try to sell it in a way that's going to be all it's going to take will be unfair. It's going to be a lot more than that. It's going to be, there are vestiges in this country that have been perpetuated a long time that we need to work on as a community. And I don't want to get too deep into that. I think most of you are aware of what I'm getting at, and that is about educating people, making sure people aren't completely and forever reliant on social services, but can respect a hand up, but not looking for a handout. Those sorts of things. So those are really things that we're going to focus on helping people, being a champion for the underserved in this city, but making people also self-sufficient, all while we do that.
But what I think will help bridge the gap, get a lot of dudes that's respected in each community, and make it like a board, and bring them together where as though now you got somebody in the communities that's representing, that got somebody behind them. So, dudes won't have that label as, oh, you helping the community, or you hide, or you this, or you that. But you got strong dudes in the community that's linked up together where they can kind of, help the communities without the police or without the mayor's office or whatever. Just a strong board of young black men or women coming together to make sure DC stands tall.
Isn't that a great idea? We're recruiting you. No, I'm serious. Don't be
See you
Thursday.
That's an excellent idea. And I was just about to ask you, do you have anybody on your staff that is actually advocating in that area? Because I know you have multiple different places.
We do, in a sense. To answer your question, if you know, we have been heavily working with, actually a friend of his, Richie Rich. He's been on the ground. Knows the streets very well. He can take you anywhere in the city. He can take you up to the guy standing on the liquor corner. A very nice guy, too. but just knows that area and that kind of the streets really well. And you know, you need people like that. We need more people like that, and we're working on getting more people like that. In fact, just as of last week, I'm not going to name drop here, but we have been meeting with people that are heavily entrenched in this very community here in Ward A, then in 7. So you're going to see we're going to come out of the box and really upset some things in the city.
Love it.
Yeah.
He got some warriors on his team.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Because if I'm up on here, you already know.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
We're going to give you one more question,
One
then we're
more
going to take a
question.
break.
You
in 20
promise it's
minutes.
only one more?
One
You
more.
promise?
Just one.
Okay, this is my last question.
Sure.
Being a new business owner, how are you going to help the up-and-coming Black business owners who are just getting out of school, don't really have the avenues, don't truly know where to go, but they want to make an impact on the community and help out? How can we help the Black people?
Very, very good question.
Yes.
The first thing we're going to do, also within our first 100 days, we have a program where all the grants, all the Main Street grants, facade grants, all of those things, we want to have it in one clearinghouse, one department in DC. That is one clearinghouse where you can go and you can find any grant, any Main Street grant, any facade grant, any grant for your nonprofit or whatever it might be in one consolidated area. The second part of our program is the 4+4 program, where that if you're a business owner and you own a business on a main corridor where you're relegated to parking on the streets during the day, it's called a 4+4 program. You get 4 hours free of parking. After 4 hours, you can renew with your code, and you get 4 more hours. So you can park for free for 8 hours.
Hey, that's a business.
We're really concerned about small businesses because I've actually run several small businesses, unlike our city mayor that has run nothing but seemingly her mouth.
Oh, no. Facebook
Yes.
I love him. I love him. He does it in such a political way.
So real, so real, so real.
Well, we're going to work to get around.
Yes.
We're
We're going to take a quick break. And we thank you for coming.
And I thank you for the invitation. I appreciate you all. Good to see you all again. And thank you, Phoenix and Fire and Ice. And also thank you to Cheers for hosting this. And also Dion as well. Special shout out to Dion.
Yes, definitely. We'll be here every Saturday from 2:30 to 4:30. So whenever you stop by. And I'll see you Thursday.
Appreciate you.
And we're going to go to the music, and then Queen Amina is going to take the stage.
My bad. We ain't mean to get into too many questions.
No, I actually love the question.
Awesome.
Very good question.
Definitely, you need to help. I'm with you.
I mean it when I say that. I mean that when I say that. You are. Seriously.
Okay.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
I'm coming.
Oh yeah, let me.
Just like she shook, she put me breakfast and roll me on wood. Ain't even that man that's understood. Really respect when she in the hood. Really respect when she in the mall. Gucci my letter man, that's how I thought. She said I'm a chick.
We never talk when you're doing a picture. Like this, all my good to see you again, Phoenix. Yeah.
You know what? I have to give her a gift. This is very nice. One of my new poetry. I just opened my own publication. Enjoy. I'm on Amazon. All I ask that you're rating.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to go around. Shake some hands.
Thank you.
No, because we're now the old cars, the old container being prepared. But you can reach out. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, we got. I'm gonna be good. I love your questions.
You know what?
Really love your questions. Yeah.
All of my content. All of my contact information Oh wait, no, that
Sorry.
network, y'all.
Really like that program. I want you to help me. I really do. That's really pretty much. That's good to have you. A lot of work. Yeah, what's this about?
That's how you keep structuring when it's not particular. Right. And I know what
That's really how you connect them. At a certain point, they feel a little distant, you know. So I think that's a good thing. Yeah. Right. You gotta do it. So let's talk next week. Are you going to be part of our quick training? Yeah. Yeah. We're doing it Monday at 5.
Did he say my battery was low yet?
I got a charge. We got a fast charge.
Oh, this one is still recording? You ready? Yes, ma'am. All right. Somebody got to turn this around. I'm going to need you to hold this one. All right, can you hold this one as well?
Watch for my raise, another 30,000. I don't take drugs on no niggas on the street about bitch. I'm just trying to take care of king.
All right, and we are back now. We are back.
We are back with Queen Amina. We are back with Queen Amina, and she's about to give us a little spoken word. She's going to do 2 poems from her Queen Has Spoken poetry book. Yes.
First, I want to thank you so much, Phoenix. You are awesome. Thank you for having me. Like I told you guys, I'm a writer. I'm not really retired. And this poem I don't know, but I feel like it just went for today. It's called God Light My Way. So you want to know how my light shines so bright? It's because the man above is with me all the time. He's not just hearing these rhymes. He's with me. When in the darkness I can't see, even when my entire family turned their backs on me, and he said to the little sheep, if I never cry and always do but give a try, that he will be watching me from the sky. He said he will always have my back, even when I'm under attack. He said have faith and lead this race. Never move at anyone's pace, and always clean, keep a beautiful smile on that pretty face. He said he will see and fully bless me if I depend on him. Not a friend, not a man, don't pretend in my life, even if I am meant to be someone's wife. Only my God can hold me down. The way this God is always around. I'm very strong, so I'm always down to ride. But I see that my God is always on my side. Full of strength and pride, I can't move without my Lord. Knowing that I'm always cured, I'm so confident. Knowing that I'm deadly but silent. That I am so heaven sent, solid as a rock and never hell bent. I make moves to the beat of my own drum. Knowing that I can always overcome. Because I faithfully believe that I can achieve exactly what my God put me here for. I am in his image and so much more. Never close your eyes or your ears. Stand up and confront your fears. Nothing in this world can stop me because I am God's little girl. He opened my heart and that's where it starts. Because God is love, giving us structure from above. This is why I pray every single day. Because without him, there will be no us. And it shouldn't be on a dollar bill, because no rat in God, we should all trust. And that's happiness.
All right, let me switch. Let me switch to the other one. Hold on.
Standing on my dress. I'm going to do a poem called Queen Amina. Does not even know who I am. It's all in this poem.
Hold up.
Okay.
Hold on. Look, we had technical difficulties.
Nah, I had you on 2 different.
Myself.
I had to mix it up.
Oh, shucks now.
That just gave me chills.
Ooh, see? That's what I said. I want you to just make me to feel it, baby.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Who is the queen? So mainstream. A light that will always be. I'm some kid's wildest dream. Because I will burn like a light. Sometimes I'm the sexiest little sight. I am a strong woman inside and out. Sometimes no man wants to live without me. I am an amazing being. Bigger than what you're actually seeing. So who is the queen? Does she have a team? Does she have a man in her bed? What is that you said? Who is this Queen Amina chick? Dang, that title does fit. Because I am something God created. You should just be elated to be in my good graces. Smiling in so many faces. Part of everyone's races. Because Queen Amina will be taking you all places. Making you want more. Making your mind soar. Making your heart pound. Making everyone feel like so special when I'm around. This Queen Amina girl is one who's thrilled, sending chills through your body, every part that you can feel. This woman will never stop making moves, no matter who does or does not approve. She is a one-woman army, so take it from me, open your ears to hear, see what she has to teach each one of you. So many, and there's not a few. To be a part of her movement is a full positive intent, and it is meant to enhance everyone with a fighting chance. So don't worry about who she is to you. Just understand she is here to do what God sent her to do. Because Queen Amina is just her name, but her mission is not the same as all of yours. Making people unify forevermore. I am trying to help stop the violence, end the horrible silence, help build these communities, put peace and equality. Queen Amina lives inside of all of us. Now I believe in God, and I know with all of that I do trust. There will be a change one day. Because all of us must believe it in this way. That God fully has a plan. And it will take us all to lend a helping hand. Not just this queen. The queen has spoken. Like I said, I got a couple books and I got a couple deals. Let me know. Thank you guys. Phoenix is awesome. Thank you so much. I have boots up today. Well, we are getting to the end of our show. We were supposed to have a little discussion about addictions and mental health and things, so we'll do that next week. But I do want to spotlight a couple events. I mean, do you have anything coming? No. I'm working on a blog and, oh yes, wait. My radio station, the Queen Speaks Radio, I just opened it almost a year ago. I have an A+ rating and I am up for my very first award. So please, I'll put a link in. You can go on Facebook and go to Poetess, Poetess, Queen Amina, AMI for independent, NA, and you can hit vote, and you can vote for me. I'm in category 18, Queen Speaks Radio. Awesome. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you very much. Thanks. Try it. Well, I want to shout out Cheers again for letting us have this show here. If you haven't tried their crab fries, you need to try them because they are so good. The drinks are awesome, and make sure y'all order the Phoenix too. So that thing was hitting on my birthday. What? Yeah. Ooh, I got to try some. But we are going to be having it was going to be just poetry, but we're turning it into a comedy and poetry next night. And that's going to start the first week in August. And if you are a comic or poet, be sure to inbox me. And then we're going to have a couple indie artist showcases as well. And stay tuned to Battle of DJs. So we have a couple events coming. Make sure you stay tuned to my Facebook, also log on to www.phoenixmedia777.com, and I'm sure Mr. Stephen Records over here has a couple things.
You can find me at CeeLo Records on Facebook and Instagram. Tune in. You need artist development, you need management, you need booking, you need whatever services come to the music ministry, or education to teach you about it. And we also got other things coming up with Shipping Line Football Team, with the Hope Foundation. I will also bring your kids out to 15th and Mississippi Avenue, sign your kids up for football registration and cheerleading. You need the kids, bring them back aboard 8, man, stand up and support the movement. Peace.
All right, and we want to end the show with a little mix from our DJ. And I thank you, my family. I love you so much. This DJ Dreads right here. And he's a princess. Now we have to still name. But he is doing an awesome job. Shout out to Shine, the bartender over here, who makes the best drinks. So you guys make sure you come visit Cheers. They will be open. They have an open mic night here tonight, actually, starting at 7. At 7 tonight. But you make sure you tip your bartender because it's my sister. It died.
Look, they didn't like that. Make sure check the bartender. And we're going to end off with the music. We don't own the rights to any of this, so please don't cut us off. But God bless, and I thank you guys for tuning in. You're not going to leave me with a baby. Yes, I need it. I need her autograph. Watch out. My whole phone cut off before I had to